On. Hello, we are live with Sevgi, who's the director for Toprak, and we're here to talk about her film, which was just shown at Pendance. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm fine, and I'm so happy and excited. Um, I'm
Where are
just so
you?
thankful also.
Of course, it's a lovely film. Where are you joining us from today?
I'm right now in Munich in our studio. I put our poster here.
It's a beautiful poster, and that shot in the film is actually absolutely stunning. And you worked with your husband on this film,
Mhm.
and he was the DOP. And together, and I don't think anyone who watched this film will ever understand the limitations that you had when you were making this film, from time to budget. How are you able to create something so polished, so beautiful, so visually at least so stunning within your limitations?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm really so happy when I hear that kind of common sentence about our film.
Of course.
I think it was about passion. I always wanted to make a movies, and at the end we made it. We didn't have enough money to make a movie. That's why we saved some money. 1 year we were working in different jobs together, and then we saved some budget.
Hmm.
We said we are doing our movie with this. Is it possible or not possible? It was all question marks. And also I didn't study film school. I didn't go to film school, and I was also wondering how I will be able to make this alone. Yeah, but I can say independent filmmaking, and it just happened.
And so, were you very prepared going into this shoot? Like shot list, every shot mapped out, or sometimes it happens where you find things that you didn't think you would find, and you just say, "That's interesting. Let's capture that." Very organic filmmaking, or was it very rehearsed? Like you had every shot mapped out in your mind.
It was very natural filmmaking. I think it was very natural. I didn't make a storyboard, but I was clear in my script. Story will come out. It will be slow speed because I wanted to give the feeling of the village town.
Hmm.
I was sure about it. And I wanted to make sometimes one shot scenes. I wanted to try this in my movie, how it's possible.
Hmm.
Yeah, as I said, we didn't have storyboard. Actually, I don't know how to make it too, and I don't have budget to give somebody else to it. But I was writing every little details on the script, and
Hmm.
and, and when actors are acting, when we talk, we said it will be slow speed. So we are
Okay.
breathing, we are giving one dialogue, and we waiting.
Right.
Not with the dialogue giving emotion, but giving the emotion by showing it, by feeling it.
That's beautiful. So you mentioned you did not go to film school,
Yeah.
and your background is not in short filmmaking or narrative shorts. It's actually in fashion as well as music videos.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. This is the same career arc that David Fincher took, by the way. So I'm kind of curious. How does that experience prepare you for a narrative feature?
Very long time I work in the film set. This is for sure. Actually, I started in the film business as a stunt. I,
Wow.
yeah, I was making karate back then, and one day they came to karate course for looking at stunt, and they chose me. First time I saw the big film set when I was making a stunt. It was a German-Turkish film set in Antalya in Turkey.
Hmm.
I met my husband exactly in this set, but I was not speaking English back then, and it was like kind of oh big set, big people, so many things. It was like a dream.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's that's fantastic. I'm wondering, what are your cinematic inspirations? Because there's a lot of really great films that have come out of Turkey. They may not always make it to this side of the world, but people who are really interested in cinema, people who are subscribed to movie, they know. So what are your inspirations cinematically? They don't have to be Turkish, of course. You're living in Germany, and of course, Germany is like the mecca of cinema. So, who are you inspired by?
I think I have a Turkish director. First, it's coming from Turkey. Then, of course, I have some American directors too, from French directors also. But Turkish director Nuri Bilge Ceylan is I feel similar, like this style. I like how he's giving these feelings. That's why I can say I want to try to go his direction. I can feel, I can understand how he wants to explain what he wants to see. But maybe I can say I want to make it even less, even with the less dialogue. But the main inspiration comes at the beginning. I was not sure. I want to make a movie, but what kind of movie I want to make it? I was not sure. I really love action movies too, but I don't have budget to make for action movies. I'm a dramatic person. So first movie came out, drama movie, and I discovered myself. Main inspiration comes from the true life stories. In the Toprak film, this guy is my own cousin, Burak. In the movie character Burak, in the real life, he's also Burak name, and he lives in a village town. So he has also dramatic family background. I wanted to put this inside the movie. Main inspiration came from Toprak with him. Then afterwards, this some illegal stuff, this kidney selling, some issues, black market issues inside of the movie. I saw it in the newspaper. It's all touched me so much. I didn't think from cinematic way how it will be, but from emotional way, I thought it's very strong and powerful, and it can happen everywhere. Not in especially in my country. It could be everywhere, anywhere. Yeah.
I think that comes through in your film. I love the part that you said about that you wanted to show and meditate on feelings as opposed to like talk. There's not a lot of dialogue in this film, and I love that because this is like, for me, the films that can allow you to just contemplate in silence. And it's so beautiful, the way that you've captured this. But it's also a story where there's a lot of pain, right? There's a lot of quiet pain in the story. So one thing I appreciated about this film was there was no judgment. Right? I like film that does not have this type of feeding the audience the judgment. So how conscious are you to show village, this sort of simple life without judging it? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Really, thank you very much for your questions. It's really special questions. I also never heard before.
Thank God.
It's not a standard question. That's really touching me. This village town feelings, this village town simple life story, actually coming from my grandparents because they live my grandparents are living in this place, and I always hear another villager people are thinking and talking. What is their what are their problems? What is their ideas or visions? I can hear it. So what I heard, what I saw, I wanted to use it in my film. But at the beginning, it was not so much interesting for me, that kind of things. After I moved to Germany, after I started to see another culture, another people, I was thinking like, oh, it's different than my country. I mean, it's not so far from each other. It's two different countries, but mentality, culture, religion, tradition, it's really different. And we are living more presented. And I wanted to add this inside of it.
That's interesting. I'm going to give you another question you've never heard before, I think. If you watch a lot of mainstream movies, I think we're talking about representation. People are always saying we need representation on screen. So, for instance, we say we need female representation, we need black representation, we need brown representation, we need all this representation. How important is it? Because one thing that I don't hear often enough is that we need working class people having stories on screen representation. There are a few films at Pendance that deal with rural poor communities, working class communities. There's a film today, Lorelei, that deals with, you know, this sort of working class mentality, and how important is it to show those people, which for people who live in New York and Munich and Paris and Toronto, this feels like there might be only 20 people in the world like this, but that's actually the majority of the world actually is living like this. And it's very, I think living in big city, sometimes you live in an echo chamber where you don't see how big the rest of the world is. You know, even here in Toronto, like we have big city Toronto, big city Montreal, big city Calgary, maybe, and big city Vancouver. What about the rest of the country? Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, like all this. So, you know, rural Turkey, like I think as much as you are very, it's a very personal story about Turkey, and culture is very specific. I think there's also universal application that somebody from the prairies could see themselves in these characters, and maybe the questions are a little bit different, the characters a little bit different, but the theme is the same. So I keep talking, big question, but my question is, how important is it for people who are villagers, working class people, common people, to have stories that show their lives?
Mhm. Let me say from my side firstly. From my side, I discovered new this new world. So my grandparents living there, we are living the modern side at the city side.
Hmm.
It was not so much important. But after I show another people, after they got a question, after they ask a question, why is like this? Why she is like this? Why is your female character like this? Why another female character like this? Because inside of the one movie, I put two different female characters. One is from the village town. One is
Hmm.
she's just coming and buying fruits and she's just leaving. So I wanted to show between these two different things. Uh, I think it's important to show people around of the world also that other side of the world it's happening.
Hmm.
I was thinking this kidney selling stuff only possible in other countries, and I saw it one day in my Turkish news, and then I said, "Wow, it's happening in our country too." And then I can show it in other countries that it is happening too. Actually, I didn't put anything unnatural inside. I tried to stay, as you say, this basic rural side.
Hmm.
When you go to village town with me to this village town, you
Hmm.
will hear with me again. This villager people will say, "Where are you coming from?" If you are coming from city side of the another country, they don't trust you anyway. If you are coming from rural village side, they are starting to communicate you. They try to contact you. It's interesting. I don't know. I just wanted to use the life form inside. How important for another person. At the beginning, I was not sure this movie is going to another film festivals. Even I was not planning. I always had a hope inside of me. It would be nice to show the movie and screen the movie around of the world,
Hmm.
and that's why I'm so thankful. Such a great film festival like your film festival, just giving us chance to screen that. And this is one step for us to show and make another independent filmmaking.
I hope that there are a lot of programmers at our film festival this year. We gave lots of passes to other festival directors to attend our festival because we had filmmakers who could not attend, and it was largely with films like yours in mind, so that, you know, because this is hard. Like I talk to a lot of independent filmmakers, and off, you know, like off the record, on the record, I am an independent filmmaker. I get it. It's damn expensive. First you have to, but I feel like the conversations that we've had at this festival, from the panels, like I don't know if you've had a chance to watch them, but please do go watch them, because they're with some of the best programmers in the world, and they're talking about what are they looking for. And then there are another panel where we're talking about what are things that festivals can do for filmmakers to make this more meaningful, more value for them. Because it seems like every decision that industry makes, filmmakers always on the bottom of it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like consider the economics of filmmaking. You spend money to make a film. You
Yeah.
spend money to submit the film. Then you spend money to come attend the film. Then you spend money to market the film. And at the end of the day, there are so many filmmakers who do all the right things, make beautiful film, but they couldn't give away 100 free tickets to somebody to watch their film sometimes.
Exactly. It is true. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but how do you find the conviction to continue to do it? Because I think it's important. These films are important, but there's an old saying that I read the other day that said 99% of books read are accounted for by 1% of books written,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the same is true with film, right? There's no way there's no way that people are going to turn down Avengers for your film.
Yes.
But there's poetic resonance, and a friend of mine said, independent cinema can save the soul. And it's important that you keep making films like this that are honest and sincere. So what has your experience been like? What are the challenges that you faced, going to festivals? This has all been virtual for you, right? Which is sad, right?
Yeah.
So what has that experience been like for you? Do you have any regrets? Do you have any things you would change next time?
Yeah. You are right. When you try to make a movie, you have to find a budget. So you go into financial ways. You try to find some budget about who can give you budget. Also, unknown name. Like I started this way, very difficult too. I was not sure if people can give to me money or something. I can just ask the funds; they can give me money or not. In my country, also very difficult. You need to know somebody inside of it, that they have to discover you. They have to understand your feelings. It's not so easy to make it. Um, at the end, we decided to make it from our own budgets. But I'm not sure for the next film how it will be. Should I have to stay same style or not? I wanna try new movies too. I think my right now motivation comes from the film festivals, because we are screening and some people are commenting, and when we make a question and answer like this, actually I'm discovering myself exactly in this moment. I'm thinking, when you ask me a question, really what will happen with my movie right now? What will happen? It is a special movie, but it is not a movie everybody can watch it. Some people already said it's a slow speed, it's boring. So many people find it boring. So many people say it's beautiful movie too. It's always changing, but definitely it is not a cinema movie. People cannot go and watch all around of the world. They will not watch it. It's also affecting for me the next film ideas too. So should I have to stay in this style, independent movie with the real feelings, who you can give the direction and feelings inside, or you should have to make something for the business, for the sector, for the film industry? You have to make it something. I think I'm very new. I don't know how it will happen. From Germany, we have one distribution right now. They had an interest. I feel myself lucky for this. How much will be shown right now? We cannot know, of course, because cinemas are not open. Cinemas are closed. For me, I really have to say, going to a film festival, submitting and getting inside, and when they are having time for you for talking, question, answer, when they have time for you to show your film, I find this very important, because I couldn't screen my movie in my country yet. I submitted one film festival only. That was the film festival from the town. So I was thinking, I'm from Antalya, and my actor is from Antalya, another actor from Istanbul, but he's a known person. Rest of the people from theater places from Antalya, and we shot the movie in Antalya. I was thinking, it will be perfect for our Turkish premiere to screen the movie there. I submitted. I was so happy. In this time, we got some awards, and I was thinking like, oh, so good. They will be a little bit proud that I can make it. And so they didn't take the movie, and the reason, it's not enough for the industry. It's hurt. It's hurting, but
I don't see. Here's the thing. We had a former alumni, and he was on Thursday, and he was talking about his film, which is called A New York Christmas Wedding, which went to Netflix. Okay. So, and it did very well on Netflix. Like everyone was talking about it. It's an American film. I was hearing about it in Canada from my friends. Like, oh, do you know this guy? I'm like, yeah, he's a friend of mine. I know him. We selected him in 2019. I know who he is. But he said something very interesting during our conversation the other day. He said, when it was at film festivals, I was screaming at people, go watch this film, go watch this film. Nobody watched it. Nobody cared. But the minute Netflix puts it on and it's on the watch list, everybody watched it. People are sent. So that's probably the problem, because there's a juxtaposition here. Number one, it's never been easier to make a film. I don't think that you could have made this film 25 years ago on the money you had. It's impossible. It's just not possible. There are a lot of people today who can make a reasonable film, not this good, but reasonable, for $30,000, $40,000. Probably, right? You don't have a big star or whatever. And all of those films are now competing for very limited attention from people who have very short attention spans. Having a slow movie that is not action, not comedy, is very meditative. Yeah, it's very difficult. But making a good movie is important, because I think when you go to the next level, when you do get distribution, or Hulu or Amazon, somebody lists this, because I'm sure they will. Like, you've won an award at Woods Hole Film Festival. That festival does carry some weight with people, you know? And you've got, how many film festivals have you been to already?
70 around. Over actually 70. Chris says more, but I want to say that.
So, I mean, that's a huge number of film festivals around the world that, you know, I think all of those people. So I just think that you guys have kind of given yourself a little mini theatrical run, you know, albeit virtually. And I do hope that when this does go into some sort of VOD distribution, that the film will have a second life, hopefully, you know? And I've found myself that you never know, like sometimes art is a reflection of the time, you know, the time that we are in. Certain films are relevant, they're before their time. They come in, and then something happens in the world, and that film becomes immediately super relevant. And then it has a second life. So I always think that when you do something honest and you put something of yourself, yeah, you didn't get into this film festival, that film festival, you got into 70. I can't even imagine how many rejections you must have gotten in those 70. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's so, but I think that if you've made something honest and pure and you've put it out into the world, that has a very long life. So as much as, you know, it probably sucks to not, you know, like have that immediate, like, okay, Sevgi, I'm going to give you $15 million to go make your next film because you've done so well with this, right? Even if that doesn't happen right away, I've met so many directors that have had a 9-year pause. Sorry to alarm you, but it has happened. They have gotten into TIFF 2012. Their next project was greenlit. I'm not going to give you the name of the director, but he's a friend of mine. His project got into TIFF, feature film, big actors, 2012. 2019, his script was greenlit for a $50 million budget. It took 7 years from one to the next step. It happens. You can Google a lot of directors. There's a 6-year gap, 5-year gap. It takes time. But over that period of time, people are still watching the film. They're evaluating. And if it's a bad film, the 6-year knock will never come. But if it's a good film like this, I think eventually the door will open. And I can't wait to see when that does happen. We have a bunch of comments here. Here we have, this is the whole point of doing it live, is so that you can hear from your audience. So here we have a comment. Toprak was so beautiful and contemplative. Toprak is very successful movies. Sevgi is the best director. What's her next project? I'm looking forward to watching her new movie.
Oh, I'm so happy. Yeah, thank you very much. Next project. I'm dreaming a lot. I wrote already one story.
Mm.
I can say a little bit. It's about, it will be drama again.
Hmm.
About, I don't know in English the name, but the person after you are dying, somebody washing you. Body washer.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a job in Turkey in the religion where you have to be washed. And this is the story about this guy.
That's really interesting. Okay, cool. If anyone is watching with deep pockets, please
Yeah.
please send us a message so we can put you in touch. Okay. Uh, Eliza says, how did you convince people to trust you and to give you a chance to make a movie?
Oh, very nice question.
Movie had a very personal undertone. It was like therapy session and a heartbreak at the same time. Did you have a certain call to action in mind for audience to take from this film? So something that the audience should, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
do you want to answer?
Yeah, I answer all of them. Thank you very much for the question.
Okay, I'll keep it on the screen. So there you go. There's the first question there.
Yeah, this question, um, I was not sure firstly about my cousin because he wants to be actor and he doesn't have experience also.
Hmm.
I wrote the script. It's village town, one boy. Okay, he wants to be actor. I thought, okay, let's give him script. I was not knowing he can learn script, dialogues, learning and acting. I gave him. I left him alone 1 month together. He learned everything. He was acting to me and he was looking very emotional and he was there with his heart. Then I said, he needs this chance. I'm putting him inside. But I was not sure afterwards for the Numan Chakar, for the known actor, because I was not sure how to convince him and I was not sure how can I convince him to act with my cousin in the movie.
Hmm.
I sent him script. I found the email address. I sent him script. He called me. He said, I liked it very much. I smell the taste of the film already. I have a feeling for this film.
Hmm.
We will make this movie. Then I said, but the boy is acting my cousin. He said, oh, good decision. Someone natural would fit with me better. Convincing was like this. But before asking him, before sending him the script, I
Hmm.
was sweating a lot. Yeah.
Hmm.
And rest of the people was from village town. When we are shooting the movie, they were not knowing what's going on, what you
Hmm.
guys are doing. I had to explain myself that I'm making a movie. It is the movie like same you watching in the TV something. I tried something.
Hmm.
Uh, they were thinking like, why do you do this? Why do you need to do this? They were not understanding at the beginning. Then they started to help.
Hmm.
Convincing people was good communication. Try to explain all the time.
That's interesting. Before we get to Eliza's next question, I do have a question for you because we had this conversation on our last panel because the last panel was about suicide among Aboriginal youth. And a documentary filmmaker had gone into the Pine Ridge Reservation and he had been granted access to shoot a film about this very hard topic. And one of the questions that we were asking was, how do you gain access to a community that is naturally guarded and sort of wary of people? Because, and they're correct, by the way, to be scared and to not be trustful, because they were talking about how NBC had come in and had like done a story, but privately she was saying like, yeah, but they're telling the side of the story that's very bad and very sad, and they're only trying to show the negative part of it. I don't think anybody wants to see their village represented in a bad way. That, oh, look, these poor people, right? Just like I don't think anybody wants to see their reservation or their country. So when people develop this idea of outsiders are only here to take something from us and to exploit us and to manipulate us, I think there's natural mistrust, and that you have to overcome this with lots and lots of trust building. So I think that is maybe the question that Eliza was asking there, is like how are you able to, because you said, okay, well, first they didn't know what we were doing, but eventually they started to help and they're asking questions. So like, is there something you have to be always aware of? Like, hey, I'm dealing with people that I have a camera and they're thinking, why are you putting camera on my face? Why are you doing this? What's this going to turn into? They're scared, no?
Yes, yes. Firstly, I went to city government because my mom said you will have definitely problem. You need to get a shooting permission. I went to city center, city government,
Mm.
and then I told them that I want to make a movie.
Mm.
My story started exactly with this question because they started to ask, why do you need to make a movie? Why are you doing here? What is the reason? I think I was a little bit lucky that I said, well, I'm just independent filmmaker. Person can make a movie. We have a camera, we have a story, and story is not about something bad. But they ask 1,000 times, is there any something bad you showing in the government? Is there any against the government? Any words, anything bad? They said, if you shooting this, if you screen it somewhere, you will have a trouble from us. I said, I don't have anything. So from my side, I don't have anything. But I am just afraid from their side, maybe they have something.
Mm.
And then after going to village town, the villager people all around of you and explaining them how they have to be silent. We are making a movie. That was a little bit difficult.
Sorry?
The military came to our shooting time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, military with so many military inside of the one military car. Humvee, you say not Humvee, but big car.
Tank.
They, kind of tank style, but big car. I don't know the name in English.
Okay.
But military car came, and they came out. They asked, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm making a movie." All. Then they started to call some places. They said, "She's making a movie here. We don't believe." Blah, blah. It was over than what I tried to make. I mean, for this movie, for this little budget movie, I had so much problem, and it was happening in front of my husband, and he's German, and his friend is helping from Germany. They were looking like, "Oh, we never had an action in Germany like this. That's why it's cool to watch that kind of things."
Hmm. Well, that's interesting because there's been a lot of, and you can tell me if you don't want to talk about this because this might be a topic you don't want to put out there, and if you tell me after to edit it out, I'll edit it out. But there's been a lot of talk about censorship in very many countries. There's political censorship, right? Where, okay, for instance, in China, you cannot make a film. You cannot make a film here that has China looking even remotely bad. They will not screen it. Enes Kanter, I believe he is a Turkish basketball player. He's had like lots and lots of issues with Hida Turkoglu and like the entire branch of Turkish government because he said things that are against the Turkish government. I'm kind of curious because you're facing a very unique challenge, I think. This is just my perspective. I've only ever been to Turkey for like one day in my whole life. Is there a pronounced sexism there that you're saying I'm a woman and I'm going to direct a film? Is there not a notion baked into that she's about to cause trouble for us?
I think directly I didn't hear something like this. I was lucky.
Uh-huh.
But I know in Istanbul, as a female filmmaker, it's difficult to make a movies. People are not trusting you, or they are telling you they are because of maybe our culture and religion. Not only culture and religion. I think we are presented our religion. That's why it's sometimes coming out with the words that you cannot do it because of you are a woman and so on. I'm very lucky I didn't have it. But if I want to make a movie about that, not only that kind of subjects about this is about gay people,
Sure.
it could be a problem. And I want to make a movie about it. And I'm thinking, how can I make it? If story will happen in Turkey, they want to see the script and they want to take the scenes out. If you are shooting this, there's no chance you can show the movie in Turkey. Plus, I don't know how much they can block, but they are looking.
This happens even in places where you don't think it happens. It happens here even. It's not nearly as rigid. But if a Canadian government is financing your feature film with a grant, there's absolutely this must be there, this must not be there. We need this much of the film to be in this language. This cannot be in this language. So I think it's very limiting for an artist to have to work under these parameters. And I really hope that at some point, like, your career ascends to a point where you're able to be over that, right? Where there's enough trust and enough credibility, because there are some filmmakers who, frankly, they don't have to deal with this shit, right? They're big time. Okay, so this is the next question. The movie had a very personal undertone. It was like therapy session and heartbreak at the same time. Did you have a certain call to action in mind for the audience to take from this film? Do you understand the question?
Did I
Call,
take action?
do you understand the question? It's like, did you have a certain call to action in mind for the audience to take from this film?
What is certain call to action when they use further?
Certain call to action. A call to action is like, what should people do after watching this film?
Okay.
Like, is this like at the end of it? Like, for instance, like, yeah, like, I mean, for instance, in our last film, obviously, call to action is go and learn more about go and learn more about youth suicide and go volunteer, you know, somewhere. So yeah. So is there anything that you could think of that people should do after watching this film?
Yes, I think I want to give a message inside situation. Whatever happens, even if you have to, even if you have to stay under the pressure of another person, if you have to stay, what is the name of it? Pressure of another person. If you have to have a life, another side of the world, doesn't matter what happens. I want to end it with positive. So people should have to go on, and your story should have to go on positive too. So you have to go your own way, like in our movies, dramatic but little hope inside. I like that kind of themas.
Okay. We had a director on yesterday who said that she never thought that she could be a director. It never occurred to her. She said, I kind of grew up thinking I was supposed to be an actor, and she's a fantastic director. She directed her first film. It's a short film. Couldn't tell it was her first. Thought it was her 15th. Looked her up, like, what the hell? How did she do this? And she said it took a long time to see that as a possibility for her. So what was your experience like? Because from talking to her, Amandine, her name is, it seems like a lot of this has to do with early messaging that we receive as children about differences between men and women, what's possible. And we came to this conclusion that, like, through one of our channels, that the minute we say female director, she's a female director, but we never say male director, right? So is that important to you, to be known as a director, as opposed to, oh, she's a female director? Because I feel like the minute we say female director, black director, whatever, there's an idea that forms when I think of that this is the type of film this person must be making. And the minute that happens, it marginalizes, it puts the person in a box, right? So is it important to you to be known as a director? That's my first question. And my second question is, where does your fight come from? Where does your confidence come from? To the belief system come from? Did you have really great parents? Like, what's up with this?
Well, thank you very much. Really nice questions. Actually, when I'm making a movie, I didn't think like I will be a director. I didn't think of it. I didn't think like I will be director part. I never thought of it. Now I'm writing my another stories. I'm still not thinking, oh, I will be director. So somehow this is coming with me naturally. I like this. When they make a news about me first time in Turkey, after we got some awards, Turkish female director got the award. I was so happy. They said, oh, Turkish girl made it, because I heard it before. Turkish cannot do, Turkish can do words. That's why it was touching to me. At the beginning, I like it. But right now, last some months, I start to think of it. Actually, I asked about this question to my husband. We were discussing. Is there a reason when you're making a movie saying woman or man? I'm thinking idea is idea, and this coming with the inspiration. When you make a movie, he is also giving same effort, she is giving also same effort. Maybe difficult, maybe finding a budget time. Maybe somebody asked bad question to us, but maybe he's getting a bad question distribution time. I don't know. Everybody can get a not good questions, and everybody can get a hard times. That's why somehow I have a feeling I don't find right female or male directors separating it. I think filmmaker, independent filmmaker working with the heart and try to make a project. Two both same to me.
Hmm.
What is right? I don't know.
Well, I have my answer for this for you. So Ava DuVernay, right, one of the most prominent female directors in the world, always says, "I'm a black female director," right? That's the messaging.
Mhm.
Every time she says that, I think there's an importance to saying that because somebody out there hears that message and says, "Oh, maybe that's possible for me."
Mhm.
Maybe this is a transition period because women have not been very represented in the directorial field for a very long time. They've been editors, they've been actors, they've been writers sometimes, but the director chair has been a prominently male thing for 100 years. It's very recently. So maybe we are doing this now, and maybe it's okay to do a little bit of this Turkish female director so that one day maybe your kids or like maybe someone who comes up 10 years next to you, it will no longer be female director, it'll just be director because enough would have happened, right? Maybe or maybe it will always be that way and it will always be a problem, but I see it as maybe it's just a transition period to getting to a place where we don't have to talk about that anymore, because that would be great. Because I think a lot of times, film festivals feel a certain pressure politically to select a certain number of female filmmakers. We don't feel that pressure ever, like ever. And I like people have very different responses to that when I say this, because people are like, "Shut up, like don't say that," But I feel it's so important, and I'll share a story with you. Like in 2017, we awarded a female director an award, and she said to me, she was like, in 2017, she said, "I know that I did not get this award because I'm a woman." And that makes it more relevant to me because I don't have to ask the question, right? Because see, the political gesturing of it all, right? When you do this, like, oh, we are so progressive. We awarded, a female director as best. It cheapens it, right? It makes it worse somehow. And I think that it's awesome to be able to just say, we had 5 female directors in our features competition. It's the first time ever for us. The best part of this, we didn't try to do that. It happened organically, and it's happening organically. I'll tell you why. It's because people like you are actually submitting. Last year, that was not happening. Every year, we get better and better female filmmakers submitting to this film festival, and I love it because it's like, this is awesome. And maybe next year, we're going to blow the world away because we're going to have all female filmmakers, and people will think we have lost our minds then too. But if the 10 best films are by women, we'll select 10 best films by women. So it's like, so it's I don't know if that.
Yeah, I think the most being in my country, being a female director is how can I say, bad thing than in other countries. It's difficult. It's more difficult in my country. Actually, I feel this already, but maybe it's inside of me. I know this. I feel this. Maybe I try to ignore a little bit. Like I'm thinking, he's also giving the same. I'm also giving the same power, and we try to make it some art out of it. But as a person from Turkey, I understand and I know what you mean. I feel what you mean.
Well, I mean, this film is such a, it's such a rebellious. Like every independent film is an act of rebellion, in my opinion, because it's sort of a fuck you to the studio system. That look, I can do this without your green light, right? And it sort of threatens that. But this film is a super act of rebellion, in so many ways. It's methodical. It is slower. and more well paced. It's a drama, which they tell you do not do that. Like independent film, do not make drama, make horror. You know, maybe you should go into that. Like, make horror. You make so much money, right? They say don't make drama. Linguistic bias, Turkish, like making the film in Turkish language, linguistic bias, so it's not in English. And so it's like such a rebellious thing, and I think you should be so proud. You know, as much as I don't care about counting film festivals or whatever, the fact that this film has been embraced, and we received so many comments about this film throughout the screenings. Like, I'm trying not to look at my phone because I'm also looking at 7 other screens, and it's like I'm getting screen fatigue looking at so many things. But the response has been really lovely, and people really connected with this film, and I'm so happy because we thought that would happen.
Thank you very much. I'm really so happy. But I want people to know I made this movie with really small budget, with this very little helps. The kind of my mother helped. She made a clapper. Chris, my husband, was making the camera. Somebody making sound. And if he cannot do it, I am doing the sound. Acting, Burak cannot cry sometimes because he doesn't know how to cry. He didn't get dramatology course and so on. Numan is reminding him, like, we have any bad story in your life, remember, he's trying to help him. Everybody help each other. And I really learned filmmaking by making the movie. I didn't imagine this movie can go out of the countries. That's why I'm so thankful, and I'm so proud that you are taking my film, selecting and showing it around of the world. I'm really just so thankful, and my team also thinking the same. My husband also so thankful. My actors also. Everybody so thankful that you are helping and supporting us as a female director, as a first movie director, independent filmmaking. Yeah, you are really helping us. Thank you very much.
That's literally why we exist. That's, if we don't do that, we would not exist. So I'm very, very, very proud of. It's weird to tell someone that you're proud of them because I don't know you. So it's like, how can I be proud of you? But I am proud of you, actually, in the sense, like, to make a film like this, to make it the way, because I read a lot about how you made this film when we were selecting it, and I was just blown away that you were able to achieve this type of thing. And I really I hope that you, I know, actually, I want to say I know that you will get financing for our next film. I have this feeling that it will happen, and I can't wait to see what you can do without having to focus on having your mother making, you know, clapper and you know, because and I think removed from all of that, that your vision as a director can shine. Because I think sometimes when you are trying to produce something and direct it, you're always having to switch back and forth, and you know, sometimes you know, you do hear the stories about directors who've had to wear too many hats on set, and how it hurts. You know, it hurts their directorial performance. So I think this is a really good film school for you, like making this film, and I can't wait to see what you make next. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So thank you so much for being with us. Is there anything you want to say to anyone who watched this film?
Again?
Is there anything you want to say to the people who watched this film?
I would like to say I'm so open. Every comment, every feedback. If they want to say anything to me, good or bad, negative, positive, doesn't matter. I'm just so open. They can communicate. They can write me. I'm just saying enjoy watching, and I'm so happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and have a good night. Yes, almost night for you. Okay, perfect. I'm lost on the time schedule now. Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.